How much fun was that? First game done of the day. Australia against Argentina in Sydney. An absolute belter. My immediate thoughts following the full-time whistle. Let me know yours in the chat down below. Give the video a thumbs up, hit subscribe. And yeah, let's get stuck into this one. Obviously, because it's an early start, I'm not putting the score up just in case you haven't seen the game and you want to watch it, just in case you've stumbled across this video. But spoiler alert, it is coming, and congratulations. Los Pumas, vamos. 28 points to 26. Australia nearly did it again. 4 tries to 1 for Australia. But they were as far as I'm concerned, they were the authors of their own downfall. And Argentina were the better team and did deserve to win. And make it 1-1 across the 2 tests. 2 really, really entertaining tests. And again, the back and forth in this year's Rugby Championship is absolutely brilliant. Such a good match. Peach of a day. First thing I want to say, all those positives aside, I said, Wallabies, don't mess about with people like myself getting up at silly o'clock in the morning to watch this game. You listed it as a 5 a.m. kickoff. It kicked off at 5:18, and you did the same thing last week. Those are precious minutes that matter at that time in the morning. I don't know why do Australia do that? Because it's clearly they know they're not kicking off at 5 a.m. Is it to get fans in the stadium? Is it? I don't know. But they're clearly messing about with us. But hey, do you know one thing you can say? If it is a tactic to get fans in the stadium early, it worked. The atmosphere at the Allianz Stadium is amazing. I was actually really gutted when I was at the Lions tour. I thought the final test was at the Allianz Stadium, which is right in the middle of Sydney, right in a cool part of town. And it was at the Olympic Park, like an hour out of town. But no, that is just an awesome stadium. I really wanted to watch a game there. I'll have to save that for another time. It looked wild. The Argentinian fans are mad. And do you know what? This is one of the signs we're seeing. Australia are playing a great brand of rugby, doing really, really well. And it feels like they are winning, maybe have won, the Australian public over again. And that is such a good sign with the World Cup coming in 27, with some big games against New Zealand to come in this year's Rugby Championship. So that's the anthems were fantastic. The noise in the stadium, I'll tell you what, a great example of just how good the atmosphere was. I mean, it's the first thing Fraser McReight said in his post-match interview. But the forward pass from Fraser McReight on halfway near the end when Australia were chasing the comeback, which was forward. I'll get onto all of that in a minute. It's we've got to change. We've got to change the way that we are as fans a little bit, I think. Anyway, I'll get onto that. But no, the fact that the assistant referee called in the forward pass, which was forward. The referee blew the whistle for the forward pass, which was forward. But the players carried on playing about 3 phases because the noise in the stadium was so loud, and that is amazing. Yeah, I'll definitely get onto that. I've just written down Morgan Turinui. I was watching the Stan Sport coverage. That's what we get in the UK, and yeah, that was a good. Yeah, no, do you know what? I'm gonna leave that. I'm gonna leave that. I'm gonna talk about all the great stuff first. I said before the match in my thing the other day that I didn't rate Argentina's bench, and I thought if they were ahead going through 60 minutes, they would win. I was kind of right, and I was wrong. Because I was thinking when I said that, yeah, they need to be a score clear, maybe 7, maybe 10 points. Actually, they needed to be 20 or more points clear because Australia just have got it in them to bang score tries for fun, and 3 of them in the final quarter of the game after having kind of been so wasteful with so much of their ball for the rest of the game. They're just so much fun to watch. But the best team won, like I say, and it was Argentina's pressure game that won the match ultimately. I thought their defense was really good, their discipline was really good for the most part. They got the yellow card late on and they started to ship penalties. And again, I do think Argentina have an issue with the depth of their squad, but there's no doubt about the quality of it. And yeah, they had the kicking game which Australia didn't have. They had the more all-round game. Argentina's line out is really, really good. They're obviously brilliant, wild attacking players, but they have the all-round game. They have the good defense that's fairly disciplined. They have a kicking game, and Australia just did not have any change in the air, and it cost them because it just made Australia too predictable because they weren't getting any change out of the aerial contest, which meant you can't apply pressure. It's so massive in the international game. But the other thing that it does is it means that there isn't the threat of the lack of threat of the kick, and Australia playing just too much from too deep just makes them predictable. It means you can stack the defensive line, go and put in big shots, but it also puts massive pressure on Australia because they have to be so on the money handling wise. And if they're not, then they hand the impetus over to Argentina in their own half. And that happened a load of times. And there were just some of the offloads from Australia just were forced on this occasion. I think that was down to the pressure that Argentina put on them. It was just one of those days when they weren't as accurate as they have been. Those offloads were all going to hand in that game at Ellis Park, where they just ran away with it against South Africa. But some of them were not going their way. Discipline too was an issue for Australia, and it just comes down to pressure, doesn't it? Like there was only twice in the whole game, maybe in the final few minutes there was more, maybe 3 times in the match that Australia got to 7 or more phases, and that's because they would force a pass that wasn't on, or they would be too stretched going side to side, so Argentina could get in there on the turnover. And the fact that Argentina, on the flip side, were able to apply scoreboard pressure, taking the threes when they were on, building up a lead, and you could feel Australia just getting suffocated. However, they did eventually click, and it led to 3 tries. Just one thing I did. I'll run through the game in a minute. Let me deal with this situation then. I've noted this Rugby Championship has been amazing already, and I'm sure there's 40 minutes as I record this until the New Zealand South Africa game. I'm sure it's going to continue, and the final 2 rounds will be great. It could go right down to the wire. How good! One observation just from where I am, and it's not just here. It happened in the Six Nations earlier this year as well. The tendency for fans of losing teams to rage at the referee it's going too far, in my opinion. And unfortunately, it's being led by people like Morgan Turanui, who is so one-eyed, it's comical. I don't like it. I don't like it. I checked the temperature of the online views, just what people are saying, and Aussie fans were absolutely incensed about the referee. It was 100% Wallaby ill discipline that lost that game for them, in my opinion. And look, I'm someone who I practice what I preach. I was in the stadium in the semi-final of the Rugby World Cup with that contentious scrum towards the end of the England game, from which Andre Pollard scored the winning points to get South Africa through to the final. Did not have any issue with the referee. You have 80 minutes to win a game, and it never comes down to a single point of failure. And the only time I do this when I coach teams, I coach a university team, I say to the boys, if they complain about a referee, once you've gone through the game and identified all of the things and made sure that there was nothing that you can control that you didn't get wrong, then you can start complaining about a referee. That loss was 100% down to Argentina doing lots of good things, and it was 100% down to the Wallabies being off today in a lot of areas. And I just don't like the discourse towards referees. It was the same last week. And it's not unique to Australia fans or last week South Africa fans, or it's the same in the Six Nations. I'm talking about it generally. I just don't like it. There's 2 things I don't like: diving and just instinctively blaming the referee and letting that be the conversation. That, for me, that is not the conversation of this game at all. Perfect example of it. Australia get themselves back into the game. They've just scored those 2 quick tries. Jeremy Williams completely runs a deliberate obstruction line and takes out Mateo Carreras, kills Australia's momentum. It was such a stupid decision of him to do. He was looking at Mateo Carreras over his shoulder and running towards him. And yet I just looked online and people were calling that decision disgraceful, the referee biased, the commentary team weren't helping it. I did think Mateo Carreras milked it a bit, and I wouldn't have minded. Penalty for obstruction, reverse penalty, don't dive. But what I didn't like as well was just the amount of moaning. So anyway, I've said my piece on that one. We saw another hybrid player, and please tell me what you think. We saw another hybrid player, Carlo Tizzano at centre. This is becoming a thing, and I'm here for it. And he actually looked quite good. And I think I was thinking during the game, it was one of the guys on comms who I really do like, Michael Hooper. He was one of the first. There was loads of injuries, I remember, back in the day, and he got slotted in at centre for Australia. Now it's becoming the norm, and I quite like it. So running through the game, first scrum on Argentina's own 22, and they ran it. This is what I really like about Argentina. They've got a genuine kicking game, so Australia had to drop their men into the backfield. That leaves space on the edge, and they take it. We saw Argentina score 2 tries from that last week. I really, really like that, and that's why having a genuine kicking game is so important, because the threat of it opens up opportunities elsewhere. And that led to the first penalty of the game on 1 minute as Santi Carreras putting that one over. Then Sualiti scored a try. Really good restarts from Australia. In fact, the restarts both ways were a little bit shaky or good from the team kicking off, whichever way you look at it. Sualiti bust Carreras' tackle, bumped Malia, 7-3. But then Argentina go and win the restart. Iskro and Tool, those 2 sevens players having a good old battle together. And Montoya scores that try, charged down Tain Edmed, who from a free kick. And yeah, there you go. If you're a Wallaby fan and you want to go back and pore over that game and say, oh, where was that game won and lost? It was with moments like that. Yes, you can say Julian Montoya was heroic as the captain to just charge it down. But Tain Edmed, you've just been charged down by a hooker. How much more time do you need to kick the ball, take a free kick? So that was the kind of moment that actually this game hinged on. A penalty again, so it's 13-7. Chocobares, took a massive shot trying to tackle Tupou. Thought he was going to be out of the game. Australia in front of the posts, 6 points down. Don't go for the post, go for the corner, and it doesn't work out. They mess it. Valentini knocks his on inches from the try line. Garcia dived in brilliantly. Valentini was just had to put the ball down, and Garcia did fantastically. There's another moment. Edmed has just coughed up 7 points, and Valentini didn't manage to put the ball down. That's a 14-point swing in a rugby match, and is the kind of moment that fans, if they were honest, and I'll tell you what, it's the sort of stuff that Joe Schmidt will be going back over. He won't be focusing on refereeing decisions, because Australia, those big moments, particularly in the first half, first 60 minutes, they did not take care of business. Then, yeah, Nick White and Tain Edmed messed up. Again, let the pressure off. Ended up with a penalty offside and a try to Argentina. And then a yellow to Jorgensen, wasn't it? Oh, no. It wasn't the try, but it was because they only got the 1 try. But it was a yellow card to Jorgensen is what that led to. And the pressure game, yeah. Australia were barely surviving. Paisami busting run out of his own 22. Tain Edmed got a 50-22. It was an absolutely mad game. It was just the little details Australia weren't getting. Was it 19-7 at halftime, with a penalty for Argentina being the final play of the half. Bell comes on second half. Tate McDermott comes on second half. They have impact. But Argentina are winning penalties and applying scoreboard pressure. They're winning the aerial battles. They're pinning Australia back. Australia trying to play out their own 22, having to play loose, go side to side. That leaves them under-resourced at the rucks. Argentina taking advantage. And they get themselves 28-7 up. When Santi Carreras, gets a yellow card for a deliberate knock-on. Consistency from the referee within the 80 minutes. I would just point out. And then Andrew Kellaway, really nice try. Some rare accuracy, simple tip passes and good handling, and it was in. Daugunu scores a try straight away. Suoliti, Jorgensen, that little 1-2. A 20-year-old and a 21-year-old, the future of Australian rugby, are absolutely dynamite. I love that pair of players. They are so good. And it was accuracy that was lacking. Then there was that moment where Fraser McReight with the forward pass on halfway. It was forward. He was behind the halfway line. He was stood still, so there's no momentum involved. And Jorgensen caught the ball on halfway. I don't know how else to say it. It's a forward pass. And then you could argue anyway, Daungunu's try, second try, was quite possibly, probably a forward pass as well. When even Morgan Turanui, when Morgan Turanui goes quiet and isn't saying anything, you probably think, hold on a minute. So they got away with one there anyway, and it led to a grandstand finish. Brilliant match. I don't want to labour on the negatives. I love this competition. I loved that match. Both these teams are excellent. Australia have come so far. They've got the Wallaby public back on. The atmosphere was incredible. Argentina absolutely deserved to win, and it is setting things up beautifully. What a match again. This Rugby Championship is box office, and I'm here for it. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you on the next one. I'm going to go and watch. Going to go and get a cup of tea in, and then get myself settled in to watch the big showdown in Wellington. Bring it on.